Doing a deck doctor. Coming in, talking your rad life Hatsume deck. So give me the elevator pitch for what's going on here.
So Hatsume naturally has like this. Everybody can look at that and look at Box Full of Babies and think like, wow, this is like the ultimate late game character. This character is like, if you get all four of those foundations, you can just absolutely pop off. And so the rest of the deck is kind of built around having a lot of resiliency to get to that point, so you can pop off.
Okay. Okay. I dig that. I like that a lot. And so your attack lineup, we got 4 stomps, we got wire arrows, creeping vines, home run comet, meteor shower, naval laser.
Naval Laser's insane.
Naval
It's
laser is
so
insane.
good. It's so good, man.
Yeah. Okay.
It's in. We can talk about it when we get there, or unless you want to start there now.
Let's get there because I think like looking at the deck, I've got 2 choices that I think are like the weakest cards in the deck. So hit me with it.
So with Naval Laser, so first of all, it's a weapon attack.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Secondly, it has an enhance ability on itself that just naturally works with Hatsume's. It's a 4 diff. There's not a lot of risk you play with just opening up with that thing. Um, and then it also gives you that capability of discarding momentum and gaining 3 health.
Right.
So naturally, when you start off with Hatsume and then you're able to like flip a foundation, even just for value, like you can flip a uh like an observant student just to make sure you can like check your next attack if you want to do a string of attacks. Then that's going to trigger Naval Laser's ability on itself. Or you can just flip the foundation with Hatsume just to make it a beefy attack early, and then you get a free +1/+1. So on the Naval Laser in this particular deck, it's a 4 diff that's a 4 low for 6 by itself. And then if you use Hatsume's ability, then it's you better have a low block because that thing's gonna come in hot.
Right. Um.
It's also importantly, it is a charge attack too for home run comment lines.
Right.
So that's another factor into the deck.
Hit me with wire arrow and creeping vine eruption.
Yep. So let's start with Creeping Vine. So Faith's Shield is an insane card.
Uh huh.
Under life, I think having the capability of having an attack that can get you your Faith's Shield back is really important. Also, just this is with we're talking about like resiliency here. This is just kind of a good poke deck for the most part.
Right.
Where and throws just naturally do that super well. So being able to poke and just get in your 3 damage, whatever, get your Faith Shield just to add to that level of resiliency to your deck. I think
Okay.
it's more of a deck building choice, if anything. I could just run Faith Shield by itself, but then there's no actual card advantage ever gained along the way.
Sure. And then wire arrow.
Wire Arrow is hilarious. This is a good rate of an attack. So first, having a 1 high block helps. I was kind of looking for an attack within a high block, and this is just like the best thing because 4 diff, 4 mid, 4 damage, and has 1 high block. That's good rate altogether. Randomly, some asset hate on your opponent, or even sometimes too, putting your own box full of babies to your momentum for a powerful rating later on. But
Or
that's
meteor
a
shower.
what if. Yeah, or get your momentum for your meteor shower lines. That's really another good thing. But it also has insane synergies with the best foundation in set 2 and probably the best foundation in like in this deck. Like all foundations combined, and that's the Excited for Blood. Being able to enhance if it deals damage, add attack from your discard to the top. That's not very good if you're wanting to do a long string of attacks and you only have tech attacks.
Mm-hmm.
So normally I would say like that would be where you'd get like a zoom or a floating around by babies type of thing, just so you can pass your next check. But with Excited for Blood, you can just string along wire arrows off the top, which is really nice.
I agree. So the initial thing that I'm seeing is I think that Creeping Vine Eruption is as good of a, and I'll use my silly made up jargon, as good of a technique as this card is. I think tactically it's not very good inside of your deck. I think the strategy exists there, but I think as a technique tactic slot, I think it's just going to be better played as Zero Gravity Lift. And here's why. I think being able to spend out your cash for your Navel Laser Charge is going to be way cooler. I think keeping your foundation count low in order to string out your moves is sweet. It is a tactic with Meteor Shower, which is amazing. And it is also a tactic with Electromagnetic Stomp. Being able to trade your Zero Gravity Lift for a Stomp or a Shower is insane. Commit one foundation to pick this thing back up and then give it 1,000 damage with Hatsume sounds wonderful. Being able to discard one of your 100 cards in your deck and being able to pick this back up is wonderful. I think that Eruption is neat, and if you need it to be, it could be in your sideboard to replace them out of your main board. But I think that your character doesn't naturally give the minus damage, and so if they just soak the 5 damage, all you've done is hit them for 5. Which is cool, but like,
I mean, that's still, I mean, you still hit them for 5 is like, free attack. You can just kind of move along with your turn at that point, not overextend with another attack if they don't have block. Or
wouldn't it be cooler just to hit them for 6 and then get value later? Like, isn't that just like neater? Still got that exact same high block. It is a charge and a high, so it works with Comet, right? Like, double Creeping Vine Eruption into Home Run Comet is like the world's coolest powerful 2 attack I've ever seen. Whereas like double Zero Gravity Lift means that this is a powerful 4 move, and now we're talking, right?
That's a fair point. I do love Zero Grav Lift, and in fact, actually, before I think I had Navel, I didn't even have Navel Laser Charge in here, and I think it was just another throw with Zero Grav Lift.
Yeah.
Just the big meme underneath life is, have your 16 throw deck.
Right.
Yeah, but kind of steering away from that, we're gonna use some good tech here. And I love Zero Grav Lift. I mean, you know me, Tam.
Yeah.
You know how much I love Meteor Shower, and then Stomp is just, let's just take a moment to talk about Stomp and how insane of a rate that card actually is.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's just 4 diff, 4 speed, 4 damage, and it's low, and as a 1 low block, and you have a way to recur it, and you can ready your box full of babies, so you can like lead off with a Navel Laser, commit one of your box full of babies, and then just follow up with a Stomp and ready it up, and then dump all your stats into Stomp again.
Yeah,
so good.
Yeah, I think that's the first thing that I would do is I have to make some small change here. I have to actually make this my current deck. Yeah.
I actually really like what this guy said in Mr. Final Max said in chat. I've explored the idea of the Midoriya throw over Vine Eruption. It's a 4 diff. Yeah, it doesn't have like the charge, or I don't think it has charge.
No.
Yeah, but you get to build your 0, so it's a free foundation that you get to play and flip actually for Hatsume's ability later down the road.
Right.
And one of the problems with Hatsume is being a 5-hander, you get so many things. Even though you're drawing a bunch of cards with box full of babies, you only draw up to 5 cards each of your turns, and being able to for free build a 0 just kind of helps it helps kind of mitigate the risk of playing several different attacks versus building. It just kind of does the job for you by itself. And I kind of like that.
That is fair. It's also a low block, which like our deck pseudo wants, right? Because we've got the wire arrow, but like that's the only. Oh, we got Stomp, we got arrow, and this is like trading out 3. Like if you absolutely wanted to, you could do like 2 and 2. I don't think you're gonna find a lot of value in that throw. For kind of the same reason I'm saying with Creeping Vine Eruption. I think like building these 0 diffs is fine, but I think that you're gonna have so much on a poke already to like if you go first and you play that poke, you're actually a 7-hand size character. So you're a 7-hand size character that builds the 1 and you don't get to play the box of babies on it, and then it's done, right? So basically it says +1 to your check 1x times because you built a thing in, and I think you're just gonna find more value out of the lift on a turn 2. Technically, the overhead throw is safer because it's a 4 diff, not a 5 diff. But because of the amount of cards that we're drawing, we should just like be able to build back out. And even if we do cut the creepy Vine Eruption, and maybe we cut Face Shield from a 4 of to a 3 of, right? Because we're also playing 4 Wall Clings. We put the 4th on the sideboard if we absolutely need it. I think that you'll have so much survivability because of Excited for Blood, Face Shield, Wall Cling, high value target. Like you're gonna have a ton of survivability with what's going on. Not to mention Trusty Cape being able to unflip Excited and Wall Cling. Like you're gonna be able to survive. Like my game plan pattern here that I'm seeing is the game plan that I'm seeing is like we play, even if we go second, right? I play out my 4 foundations, hold my 2 after I've built my 1 box, and then they go, and then I go, and then I build my second box. I play a 0 gravity lift, and then I draw my cards, and then I build out my foundations again, and then I grab it. Now if I'll play another 0 gravity lift, and then build out one more time. I'm at my 12 foundation mark. Now if I find any electromagnetic stomps, I actually have a bonus card in my hand. Like I've drawn up an additional attack. If I have a meteor shower, I've drawn an additional attack, because I have played these pokes beforehand, and then I actually just get to pop off because I have set myself up for success with this 0 gravity lift throughout the turn. I've put them in the danger zone. I've done it at minimum 6 damage, even more if I happen to find my floatings. I think that you're just gonna find way more, and being able to be like 0 gravity lift into a naval laser charge into a home run comet is a way sweeter line and way more impactful later on down the road than the creeping Vine Eruption into naval laser beam into comet. Just because like this card does not synergize with the rest of our deck. It synergizes as a really good defensive ability on Face Shield, but like even Face Shield's like a 3 mid block, man. Like sometimes we just can't even block with it.
That's fair. So how do you feel? You mentioned Trusty Cape. I wasn't quite certain on Trusty Cape. Naturally with this deck that wants to kind of have the survivability, get to that late game, Trusty Cape feels like it would be absolutely insane in that type of deck. But I guess I don't have enough experience playing with it to actually really know how impactful this card actually is.
I think by the end of this video, we're actually going to put it up to 2 of. I think it's crazy in this deck for 2 reasons. Number 1, the foundations that you have of that flip themselves, right? You've got training method, you've got Excited for Blood, you've got Recovery Ghost Kiss, you've got Precious Lesson, you have Observer Student, you have Wall Cling, you have Glamorous, and then you have Hatsume. You have Hatsume herself that flips. This card says that you don't have to keep building throughout every cycle. You get a plus 5, right? At least once throughout every cycle. This card also is an easy target to then use the ability and then toss it into your momentum with Wire Arrow to make your meteor showers tighter, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, I think this card has a ton of value, and I think its stock is going to go up. I could see this, depending on how good and expensive Excited for Blood is, this jumping up to like a $5 rare, actually, as opposed to being the 30-cent rare that it is currently, right? Because, like, nobody ever plays this card. I think this card is going to jump, especially if, like, we start losing access to set 1 stuff, just because how good things like Excited for Blood are. The most expensive rare in the ultra rare in the next set. Mark my words.
I mean, look at the card. It's insane.
Yeah.
This is the card is the reason solely. I mean, the block zone is great, but it's the reason solely that new training methods in this deck, so I can like build out and build the Excited for Blood for free later down the road, so I don't have to like worry about it. That's like the main reason why. And then being able to, have it built, and then I check another one. Yeah, I am picking an Excited for Blood up.
Yeah,
100%.
100. Yeah. I completely and totally agree. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I with your permission, I'm gonna cut the Creeping Vine. I think it is worth it to play the zero gravity lift to make sure that like the attack lineup is there. If you feel like you're stringing people out with meteor showers and you're leaving gravity lifts, or you're stringing people out and you're leaving stomps or you're leaving them inside of your momentum, I think that you cut this and maybe put this back in for some more survivability. Or honestly, you could even just put it at 2 of in your sideboard, and like whenever you need it, like cut a wire arrow, cut a zero gravity lift, and then put in the creeping vine eruptions if you feel like you need it. But in order for this card to pick up face shield, my opponent has to interact with me, and they just don't have to. Like they just don't have to interact with you unless you spend cash on a self-sacrifice, which we're not even running. And so like I don't see this card being the value you want out of it, genuinely. I'm just gonna take my 5 and then probably backswing you because you didn't go pick up the thing that you wanted to pick up.
You can also just in the same thought though, you can also just assume that when you play that, you can just assume that you're never going to get it, and then if you do get it, you know, that's just value. But that's like another mentality you can have. Okay, this is an unblockable attack for 5, and if you treat it as such, then that's all that card is.
Yeah, I think it's just gonna be better off for you if you just play the zero gravity lifts though. I think it's just gonna synergize.
Take it out.
Right. I'm gonna put Trick Sheik up to a 2 of just because I want you to see it and to see how relevant this card is inside of the matchup. Even if it makes our deck a little thicker, I think it's important to see this card because like this number here is actually misleading. We're actually only at 65 cards in our deck because of how box works.
A very conscious deck size. Just
correct. We can't go above, we can't go beneath. Speaking of going beneath, I think we'll only play 3 of this card. I think Face Shield's incredibly good. I think it is a card that you can be attached to in your hand and choose not to review it. And then if you ever find 2 face shields in your hand as a 5-hand size character, it feels abysmal. This card is not a foundation in our deck. 9 times out of 10, it's an action, which is rough, which is really, really tough. And so us playing 3 actions inside of our 5-hand size character, yes, we are allowed to build them, but like the buildability on this card sucks. It's also a 4-check, and we're trying to string, right? We're trying to play these big meteor showers. What happens whenever we check a thing? Obviously, the zero gravity lift helps with that, but I don't think we need this at a 4 of. Not when we have the 4 wall clings as well.
Yeah, that's fair. I like that take.
I think floating around my babies is actually hype as hell. Specifically for zero gravity lift, pushing it up to the bonus. Like any of these that we can turn even, especially whenever we have Hatsume, we think it's a turn odd with floating, and now they have to like be really careful about how they block. I think Zoom.
I didn't even think about that. That's actually hilarious.
Yeah. Man, this is a lot of highs and not a lot of lows in comparison. So let's chat it out. Someone with style, hit me with it. Why are we playing someone with style?
It is just kind of like one of the. It's generically good. First of all, with its abilities, but it's mostly in there as kind of it functions as that 2 diff foundation for the 2 high block was really its functionality. The nice ability, of course, with it is being able to commit it and something else. If I played an attack check poorly, being able to buy some stuff back. Has good synergies with other really good cards from set 1, like Precious Lesson, stuff like that. That's pretty much to the effect of why that's in there. I would say the primary purpose is the 2 high block.
I think we actually, of all the high blocks that we have, I think we actually get to cut it, right? Let's go take a look at our block zones. So our high blocks, we've got 4 release, which like we're wanting to keep because we're a 5-hander, I guess, but it's also a 4-check. That's spooky. We're playing so many 4-checks, dude. That's so spooky.
Yeah, that's why there's not too many 5-checks on it, or 5 difficulty attacks.
Yeah. That is fair. I mean, that's gonna make the zero gravity lift like even more valuable because it gets your
it closes your pool. Yeah.
Except for blood, new training method. I want to cut the someone with styles, or maybe even like one of each of these for 2 self-sacrifices. I think by turn 3, it's going to be really easy for you to get into deadlock. Like, really, really easy. You're cutting 1 spam and 1 non-spam for 2 more spam, and this card does the same job as floating around my babies, except for, like, an additional time, right? So, like, we could floating and then self-sacrifice an even number, and then it pushes or an odd number that pushes up an even, an extra, right? And it helps us round out our block zone, so now it would be 21-18 here.
I like cutting someone with styles, both of them, and a wall cling. You know, its ability is all the super powerful. I think release is a more important ability. If I was gonna like keep any of those as a 4 of, I think release is just gonna be a more powerful thing. So if we like cut,
so you're down for wall cling to be at the 3 and someone to be at a 0, and then play 3 self-sacrifice. That makes me happier.
Yeah,
I was trying to compromise with 2.
I wanted
29, 19.
I wanted that thing main deck, but I was like, so I don't know. I just was I could not think of anything else to really, well, I couldn't make a decision on what else to cut. I also don't like Zoom that much. But it's just it's a tech card and it works with wire arrow.
I think we easily could put this to the 2 of, and then you could play the self-sacrifice at the 4 and feel great about it. I think self-sacrifice does a better job of everything that Zoom wants to do. The only bonus that this card has, it has a tactic with wire arrow, but we have other pieces that we could do with it, you know?
Rules question on high value target. So this is one of the main reasons why I played like 3 or 4 of this. If one of your foundations would be destroyed due to a rival effect, and you have like 3 of these out, do all 3 of them get destroyed, right?
Are you choosing to respond with all 3 of them?
Oh, never mind. Sorry, this is the Magic player in my mind.
100%.
When I see like a rule written like this, I just like assume automatically that this is like a replacement effect of, but it's a response effect. I get to choose. Yeah,
correct.
Never mind. Ignore me. I'm being dumb.
If it, and I'm trying to stall here for just 1 second, had a static ability on it that said something like that, then it wouldn't work. And there's a card that I'll bring up on stream real fast called No Airbags. After you commit this foundation to pass a check to play a non-attack card, destroy it. And so this card, it would just pop, right? Because you don't have a choice, because it's not making a response. It's a static on the card.
Aha.
Yeah.
I see some similarities between those 2 cards.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. But this is exclusively to block. The last big change that I really want to push you towards is I think this card is really not great in your deck. I think that I would rather just play Passing the Torch instead. It gets you that more draw power to try and find these moves. It's an extra copy of Box Full of Babies, right? At a commit cost. And it can help you with panic blocking on your opponent's turn. I think this card, rebuilding out the foundation, is going to be a worse value than playing the passing.
So counter to that, so Precious Lesson, having some additional resiliency to, which essentially the theme of the deck, to certain characters or certain decks that want to actively destroy your foundations, but in addition, not only that, to be able to release pop one of your foundations to check and then flip Precious Lesson, don't you think that would add to better survivability versus like actively committing a foundation just to draw an extra card?
Yes and no. So this card on top of your deck means that you're going to be committing more cards anyways, right? And so like, let's talk about where they're useful in the game zones. This card has the same block. It's technically a spam, sure, but it's a 4-check, and it triggers off a really specific thing. And if you are having to pop with release to to save yourself, I'm not positive that rebuild 1 is going to be worth it. Right? Like so like,
Sure.
think about like the panic option. The reason that the reason that Momo gets away with it is because on her face she pops things, and so like she has to rebuild that back. We have to find techniques. We have to find cards to do that. So we did just put in 4 self-sacrifice, which I get, but I feel like having this card to help round out and find more cards for you is going to be better.
Okay, let's try it.
And if like you're finding that you are getting blown out by like a turn 2 evil gaze or something like that, then maybe we can put Precious Lesson back. But like all they're gonna do to the Precious Lesson is just kill it. Like they're gonna kill it. This card's good against Shigaraki, I guess. His response, but like we also already have high value target, and if we need to, we can just toss these in the sideboard if we really want to. I don't know how we play this card over not playing 2 more of this in the sideboard, because this card's just like better all around, right? As opposed to selectively destroying a thing. This rebuilds back, but like I don't know. I think you're not gonna find as much value as you want out of this card, and you will find way more value out of this one.
Sure, let's try
Truly.
it. I have a question with the quick creation package. What do you think? I know how I kind of feel about it in this deck, but quick create to me kind of feels like it has its damage buff, damage reduction.
Mm-hmm.
But in combination with Rising Starlet, it just kind of lets you build for free. With the right sequence of foundations, it really does give you that card advantage, and although if you do it on your own attack, it does buff your attack. The primary functionality I think is just it helps extend your turn by getting you a free foundation under certain circumstances. I guess
I think if you're selling out to the Staff Strike Hatsume, I'd be in. But I think that this deck does not synergize with Quick Create and Rising Starlet well enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I ultimately took it out. It was originally in there.
Yeah, I don't think it needs to be here.
This sucks.
Yeah, Trusty Cape is going to put in way more work as your bonus asset than Quick Create will. There's an argument to be made if we didn't have all of this as like options, right? Like I'd be down, but we're already at like a 68 card deck, 64 if you want to not count the boxes. I just don't think you need Quick Creates, right? The only other reason to put this card in here is to put more damage on Hatsume. Right?
I think we need one more card in the deck. Just
perfect. My suggestion would actually be a third pass in the torch, so that earlier that you see them, they are just double box full of babies, so that you can build out faster on turn 2, so that on turn 3 you don't get mollywopped. That's how I feel. If it could be a low block, I would love that too. The other option is it's a high value target because it counts as 2 foundations, which is doing the same thing as the destroy, flip, re-ready, or build up off the top of deck. Actually, that might just be the answer.
It gives us more low blocks, and I think that's more valuable.
20, 29, 20. Now we're talking. Perfect number of cards. I mean, the only way we get better is if it's 420 cards, and I just don't think we can do that. Not in set 1 at least.
Yeah. Not yet.
Yeah, one day.
Not yet. One day.
Is there anything in here that you vehemently disagree with? I think this is a really good spot to like start your initial testing, maybe on like tabletop or like proxy some stuff up, and see like what in here is you're enjoying to play and what not.
The only things that I might change maybe would be at this point, I think a lot of the changes we had made, I think, are for the better.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still not sold on passing the torch. I get it. It's that extra card draw is nice, but I don't like the idea of committing out to do it. And you don't have to. You can choose not to. And when it's there, it's nice. I get that part, but I think that spot, maybe a 2 to foundation, could be better served with more utility of some sort.
So here's the secret reason that passing the torch is really good in 5-handers, right? Is passing the torch is like a bonus review step, and what that means is if you have all attacks in your hand, right? If you have one attack, as opposed, and you have passing ready, and you know that you're not going to block the last move because they made it for 0 damage or whatever, or you have a face shield and attack, and you're going to block with that. You can commit passing and see if you draw a foundation, right? And if you draw the foundation, then you're able to, at the start of your turn, discard and then redraw your bonus 4 cards. If you didn't have passing, you for sure were going to draw that foundation, which means that you're now a 4-hander on offense because you drew the foundation. So even if you're not using this offensively to draw and sculpt things, you could be using it defensively to help you on the offense. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so, no, that makes sense.
As opposed, because like you need an attack for boxes to work, and so
that's the reason why
a bonus card on your opponent at the end of your opponent's turn to be like, this is a foundation. Okay, I'm 1 step closer to finding an attack. I'll get rid of this one, and then rip, and then the last card you draw is a Navel Laser Charge, and you're like, sick. I'm now a 9-hander because I found this one as my last card. I get to pop off, right?
Yeah. The same reason though is to be true with, and you know what, this is a good synergy with actually what I'm about to say with Meteor Shower and Stomp. Right. The main reasons to play those cards are you're a 5-hander, you have to draw an attack. Those are ways guaranteed to get an attack back. I do like actually the idea of passing the torch, so you have that extra card to discard for Meteor Shower, so you don't have to get rid of like a good card you actually want to keep.
100%. So, and these cards lose to Momentum Hate, and this card exclusively loses to Apathetic and Evil Gaze, and like that's it. Those are the only 2 cards. Maybe there's some stuff in set 2 that I can't name off the top of my head, but like the selective destruction is like a little tough. And if they are gonna selectively destroy a thing, no, I'm good.
Yeah. That's good stuff.
Yeah. All right, buddy. Let me send you this list to stay on the line for just long enough, and thank you for the support on Patreon. I appreciate it.
Yep. Anytime, buddy.
All right. Peace. Here you go. Make sure you press the copy button to make sure that you make sure that, because right now it's my deck. If you press copy, you'll get a list and it'll be all under you.
Alrighty, buddy. Appreciate you.
You have a good one.